some like what's going on. At the starting line now, in the stake boats, event number 81, Women's Collegiate Novice 8 Grand Final. Lane 1, Washington State University. Lane 2, University of Washington. Lane 3, UCLA. Lane 4, the University of Tulsa. Lane 5, Stanford University. Lane 6, University of Oklahoma.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
Washington State, Washington,
Crews being pulled.
UCLA, Tulsa, Stanford, Oklahoma. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attention. Go.
We have a start. Event number 81, Women's Collegiate Novice 8 Grand Final. Nothing glaring at the start in terms of white water. Only the white blades of the University of Washington pushing their bow out in front. The slight advantage over UCLA. So Washington in lane 2, your early leader over UCLA. Third spot goes to Washington State University in lane 1. Fourth position in lane 4, the University of Tulsa, followed by Stanford, and then University of Oklahoma. 250 meters gone. It's the Huskies from the University of Washington, your leader. 3.5, 4 seats up over UCLA. Huskies rowing at 35 strokes per minute. A little bit lower than the Bruins, maintaining that same position. So once again, Washington, your leader in lane 2. Then it's UCLA, the second spot, followed by Washington State. And then outside to Stanford, University of Tulsa, and University of Oklahoma. So here we are at 500 meters. And it's the University of Washington, your leader, by 2 to 3 seats over a very feisty UCLA crew, pushing back in, followed by Washington State on the inside, then Stanford, then University of Tulsa, and University of Oklahoma in that 6th spot.
So now in the second 500 of the Women's Collegiate Novice Grand Final. Lane 1, Washington State. Lane 2, Washington. Lane 3, Cal. Lane 4, Tulsa. Lane 5, Stanford. Lane 6, University of Oklahoma. On the basis of the heats, we saw a commanding performance from Washington yesterday. And they did a time which was about 11 seconds faster than their closest rivals. So watch lane 2 in this event, because if that form is correct, then we should see the sort of performance from the Washington Huskies that we saw from their second varsity 8 earlier in the day, winning that event. Looks like Washington have the lead from lane 2. They're being pressed by UCLA. Washington State seem to have fallen a little bit off the pace in lane 1, and there's a close race developing on the far side between Stanford University and the University of Tulsa, with the University of Oklahoma a little bit off the pace at the moment out in lane 6. Conditions in the back end of the race course are very good. There is a bit of a tailwind. I would think that the tailwind seems to be a bit stronger out in lanes 6, 5 and 4, and a little bit of less assistance to the crews in 1, 2 and 3. It's the University of Washington. Their only serious rivals at this stage are UCLA in lane 3. Washington State a little bit off the pace in lane 1. UCLA's closest challenge is coming from Stanford University in lane 5. This is the Women's Collegiate Novice Grand Final. Most of these crews are made up of freshman junior rowers plus walk-ons who have learned to row this year. Washington in lane 2, continuing to control the race, coming up to the 500 to go mark. UCLA making a big push at them, and Stanford are trying to get back on terms out in lane 5. We're seeing some separation between those 3 crews, and Washington State in lane 1, University of Tulsa in lane 4, and the University of Oklahoma in lane 6. Washington in lane 2, still controlling the race, sending down some very solid strokes. UCLA battling hard to get back on terms, and Stanford putting in a really game effort out in lane 5. Washington suddenly seemed to have acquired a little bit of urgency. They'd like to win this race comfortably, but I'm not sure that's going to happen, because the UCLA crew are pushing them hard, and they're being pushed in turn from behind by Stanford. Washington State have acquired a little bit of pace in the last 500, and they're pushing up into this mix. It's Washington. UCLA now have overlap, but Washington continue to control the race from the front. UCLA have overlap and are pushing hard. This is a really game effort from UCLA. The University of Washington have left their lane and are finishing in lane 1. That's a little bit of extra distance to row. And UCLA have left their lane and have finished in lane 2. Stanford coming, followed by Stanford University and Washington State University in 4th. University of Oklahoma have held off the challenge from the University of Tulsa for 5th spot. All right, we're seeing on the Jumbotron crews finishing in the wrong lanes. Both the crews from Washington and from UCLA suddenly took a deviation to their left. UCLA moved from 2 to 1, and UCLA moved from 3 to 2 as they crossed the finish line. Next up is the men's equivalent of the last race. It'll be the men's collegiate novice grand final.
Get closer to the animals. Photo Caravan Safari at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Are you game?